I tried to become a professional snowboarder. And in looking back, I was never within a million miles of that. We would just go out and try and do the coolest things we could think of and hope that someone was watching who would come over and be like, hey, I want to sponsor you. That was basically our whole plan. That never happened. We were going weird places where no one was anyway.
Bravery in the face of uncertainty.
Striker contact. Right.
Good job. If you want to study snow, Silverton is the place.
Yeah, I grew up in Colorado since I was a kid. Moved here when I was maybe 5 or 6, before finally settling on Evergreen, Colorado. It's kind of halfway between the ski resorts and Denver. I always look at that as the kind of the best gift my parents gave me, growing up in the mountains and learning to ski from a very young age. Right after high school, my friend found a rope and 2 harnesses in his parents' garage, like from the 70s or something, very old stuff. He's like, check this stuff out, it's rock climbing gear. And we're like, how do we use it? Like, I don't know, but we figured it out and we put a top rope on this climb right near where we grew up. That day radically changed my life. Within a couple weeks, I dropped out of the college I was about to go to and switched to the nearest college that I could find, to the mountains. And then eventually, after that time, tried for a little while to have a grown-up job. Tried kind of professional writing for a couple months. Didn't like it, it wasn't for me. And then I've kind of just been making my way as a mountain person ever since. It's been about 10 years, those 10 years after college. I spent living out of my car. I'd work June, July, August in Estes Park and then wander the world the rest of the year, trying to get by on as little as possible and follow the good weather and rock climb every day. That was a pretty amazing time until the very end of that, and then I decided I was ready for a new chapter and approached the guy, Harry Kent, that I'd been working for all those years, and told him I was ready to buy his company, which we had discussed before, and I'd always said I wasn't interested. Changed my mind, said I was, and so in 2018 I bought in to KMAC, and since then have been an owner of KMAC and kind of running that place. In the winter space, I grew up skiing and kind of got really into it in college in those winters, and eventually started taking the classes and education to teach splitboarding and eventually teach avalanche education. And so, there's kind of all these paths kind of started wrapping back together. All the things that I've loved, I've figured out how to make them a job, I guess. A scary experience I've had in the mountains, this one I share often when I teach courses, and one of the large reasons I do teach courses was this day, but I had a day as a client for a cat skiing operation. I was with some friends. I was having probably one of the better days of snowboarding I've ever had. And by the 4th lap, I was up front with the lead guide of that day, just as the client, but they're like, you're a guide, come hang out with me. We're up front, the guide, they're telling us, all right, this is gonna be the biggest lap of the day, but you're a really good group, you guys can handle this. I go up front with the guide, watch him drop in, he makes a few turns, and I watch the slope under him shatter, avalanche apart, big storm slab. And I'm like, well, that's interesting, okay. And he drops in and finishes the run, and then radios back up, like, it's kind of heads up, send the best riders first. And the whole crew, everybody we're out there with, all turns to me and they're like, Dusty, you go. And I was like, no problem, dropping. I drop in, make a few turns, right next to what had just avalanched, and it avalanches all around me. I should have seen that, but I wasn't really thinking about it, being a client and all that, and I point it, try and get ahead of it, got ahead of this avalanche, saw an opening in the trees, tried to cut out of there, and as soon as I cut out, the avalanche hit me. And so whatever speed, straight pointing 40 degrees I was accelerated really hard. It pulled me down, felt like a trap door opened under me, and I just fell faster, much faster than whatever that speed is. So I was going very fast. I think I was only in it for a few seconds, but in that time, I was pushed into a tree, pulled out of it, and stopped. I was like, oh, I'm okay. Cool, wow, this is crazy. But on my right side is an avalanche coming down, and I look left, and a few seconds later on the left side of me is another avalanche coming down. Snow is moving all around me, like, I can't be here. And got up, made a turn and fell, and got up and made a turn and fell. Eventually kind of worked my way down to the guide. He's like, are you okay? Like, I'm fine, but I was just in an avalanche. Tried to get up, couldn't get up. The group had to help me up. Ended up skiing. It was about another half mile to where the snowcat was going to pick us up. Did a full head-to-toe assessment. Didn't find anything, but I was like, kind of felt weird, so I decided to sit that lap out. Ended up sitting the whole day out. Ended up going into shock and hypothermia, and had significant internal bleeding from, I'd shattered my pelvis and broke most of my ribs when I hit that tree. Ended up with a very long recovery from that, and eventually it did hurt a few hours later, and then 4 months after that. Yeah, it was a very dark time in my life. Out of that came, I think I really did double down on becoming an educator. When you are forced to understand something well enough to teach it, then you understand it better. And for me, this has been my path to understanding things. I like to teach things to understand them. It's been more from a selfish point of view. This is how I learn about this thing. I think I have learned some lessons and learned that have been very painful, and I would love to pass them along so that others might not have to go through what I've gone through. Part of spending a life doing this kind of thing, nobody's perfect. You're gonna make mistakes and you're gonna get unlucky. There is a dice roll involved at some level. And I've had a few go poorly for me. Luckily, I'm still here, still doing it. But I think that after going through that enough times, every time you come back a little bit more afraid and a little bit more aware of what does happen when it doesn't go right. So that is in my brain, and I think probably caused me to be a little more hesitant as I've gotten older, but only a little bit maybe. If you're really excited about something or interested in something, and you want to do it and you want to get really into it, like chase that thing, follow it as deep as you can. If I've found anything in all these adventures and building my life around my personal adventures and eventually professional adventures, it's the magic of these things comes from being so excited and so into something and then following that thing to the far ends of the world. I think that's a thing that the vast majority of humans on Earth either can't do or don't know how to do. And once you become aware of it, maybe and actively try to do that, I think life becomes a lot more interesting.